Hey everyone, this is Tracy Lewis with Stuffin' Things, and it is Paper Pumpkin time times 2. This is the March Paper Pumpkin, Daisy Daydreams, and I unfortunately was on some traveling in March, and when I got home I really just never had time to sit down and do this, so I am going to make myself get this finished before I can do the April one, which just arrived today. So let's get this kit open, see what we have, and see if we can get some fun alternatives made. I already know by the box it's going to be fantastic. The kits lately have all been very good. We have white tissue. Love me some white tissue for my tissue collection. And have a knife to get this open. All right, we have Lost Lagoon for our spot. We have 2 stamp sets, which is why I opened this, to get our paper that tells us we have cursive and hand lettering, all caps. Thank you for always being there for me. Wishing you brighter days ahead. Enjoy your special day. Thank you. Sweetest birthday wishes. Happy birthday and a little hello. A bee with a couple of bee parts. We have an extra set of wings and the body. Hexagon, another, or hive. Another hive, some flowers. And let's move along to the parts and pieces. We do have extra strips, dimensionals, so these are foam, and then double-sided dots. The lighting, because we have varying sunshine today, is going to make me fiddle with our lighting when I notice it changes. Envelopes. I am going to guess that there are 3 styles of envelopes. So these can all be cut apart. Even that could be cut apart. Nothing on the inside on any of them. Nope. But you can cut these little into strips. The corners. That will be a nice piece. I've actually done a couple of cards. You can use this curve. I like the blue, and then we have a full daisy in the corner. So those are the envelopes. 3 different card base styles. Blue, we have a white. So it's 2-tone, which means you can do all of the fun sanding techniques with the embossing and bringing out the white. Daisies, white core. Here is the 3rd card. It is like a soft, yellowish, very faint pattern. Front and back with a white base. Vellum labels, a die cut full background. The circle you could turn on the back side and do something with that. All right, beautiful foil hive bits. Oh, really pretty. Look at this. Green bokeh out of focus background. Look at that. Ooh, a whole bunch of daisy die cuts and some bee die cuts. One, two, three sheets of these shaped die cuts. Oh, there's one more little, nope, there's actually 5 different daisy shapes. Here are all of the daisy shapes. 4, 5. That's not a repeat. Oh, 7 unique daisies. You're on your own with bling and embellishments. I mean bling and trim. I will warn you, these die cuts are practically falling off their paper, and I have not touched them. All I did was pick this up to move it off of the chipboard that it came on. Look how beautiful that is, though. And then finally, some labels. It looks like 2 different shapes of labels. So again, I'm going to do all alternatives. I will go away now and work on some extra supplies and whatever I want to do with the existing supplies, get some stamping done. Before I go though, I want to give you some colors, the coordinating colors for this kit: basic black, crumb cake, crushed curry, lemon lime, twist, lost lagoon, mossy meadow, soft seafoam, and very vanilla. So I will be back very soon with some supplies and prep, any demos, any tips, and then we will get right on to some mixing and matching of layers. See you soon. I am back. I have 3 demos to share with you. The first one is pretty basic, but I haven't shown it in a while. So I am going to share with you, I'm going to move it up a little bit. I have an envelope here and I want to share with you my strategy for cutting, and feel free to comment if you have found a better way to cut. My first cut is always the flap right where the fold is. I cut the flap off. Now from here, if you don't want the curve, I would suggest that you start with the flat edge. And then you can cut off the curve, leaving you a nice strip. That is about 5, a little under 5 1/4, and I could have been even more careful if I wanted. I still see a teeny bit of a curve on that corner, so I've done it so many times I kind of know where that point is. So now we have a topless envelope. We do have a little bit of decoration in the front and then the corner. So I am going to, this side does not have anything on it, so I don't have to be so careful. I'm not trying to save every bit, but I cut off the fold. So now it's open. And then this is the side that has decoration, so I'm going to take off just the skinniest of a sliver so that it now opens. If you wanted, knowing that this image here is part of this image, and if you feel you could fussy cut or just do a straight cut, but you don't really know what you want to do yet, leave yourself enough of a gap here that if you wanted to have this side be a strip in the end, just leave yourself enough of the envelope left. So I would leave, until I decide what to do with this chunk, I would leave it like this. And those bits you could save. This is a unique maybe a basic beige, perhaps. I don't have the basic beige out, but here's a piece of basic beige. I am curious. There's a basic beige here. Nope. It is lighter than basic beige, but it is also not white. You know, it's in between. So, you could save these if you wanted. Depends on how many supplies you have. The other envelope, I already cut the floral top off, but I'm going to leave this. I may try to use this curve, maybe coming down from the top. I'm not sure yet. And then we have the sides. I guess I cut the first side, and we'll cut the second side as thin as possible. Now we'll see what we have when we unfold it. So don't cut yet till you look at it. So for me, don't know what I want to do with this yet, so I'm going to make this another fairly large piece, though realize that this is angled, so you are somewhat limited unless you slice it off, which maybe that would be the way to go. So I am going to save all of the honeycomb pattern, knowing that I can trim this little edge on both sides off if I need to. And perhaps this is a horizontal card, and I can add some trim over the top. I have a couple of different trims out. That would be very cute. We will go over those supplies soon. Okay, so those are 2 envelopes. And the third envelope, here it is. Let's cut this one. All right, so we have again this lovely curved daisy image that I want to keep for possible use. So I'm going to save that for now. We have a full daisy, and we have just some blue speckly paper that is white core, so you could dry emboss it and texture it with a sanding block. So here is our little daisy element. So you can kind of cut this piece any way you would like. If you're not sure yet what you're going to do with this daisy, just leave it full, and then I would leave this full. Or I know that I'm not going to use these double or triple layer bits. Not the way they are anyway. Then I've got these 3 pieces and 4-5. These pieces I have trimmed down. They're double thick, so they make a nice layer underneath a label. We have these labels in 2 different sizes, and you could trim this down to go underneath. It's plenty long enough to be trimmed off. Add it as a layer, and then you've also got the vellum layer. It's like a mini decal edge. So you've got that to work with. Save all these pieces. And that is the end of the envelope demo. That is something I do for every single kit. Okay, so the second demo is something I don't do every kit because it does not come up with every kit. And that is taking this mess of stencils. Every time I cut out, and this is all, I should have untangled it before. Okay, there we go. So we have 3 sheets. You can see some cutting has happened, and I'm going to do a few more cuts. I didn't want to do all of the cuts. I am looking for possible stencils. For me, every one of these flowers and all of the bees, there are 3 sheets, so I've already cut this one. The first bee is already cut. I've got this flower or this bee. I can't do both, and you will see why. I'm going to go ahead and snag this bee here. And then look at, on this side it doesn't look so interesting, but check out the back side. That is a fantastic bee shape. All right. We know we have 7 different flower shapes. Maybe not all of them are perfect. And so you will want to cut, I believe, all of them. Make sure you get your third bee here. And then I'm going to pretend they're all cut, but they're not quite all cut. I have some of them cut. And then I'm going to show you what I do to turn them technically into stencils. But before I do that, we have 3 circles. The 3 circles make the bokeh dot image. I have already done a little bit of cutting on it. And I am not sure where I put it. Take that circle and cut it into 2. And the reason why you want to do that, I will, oh, here it is. Good. So I cut mine into 2 pieces. And so I cut and I sacrificed the middle circle. The reason why I did that is so I could washi tape and make myself a circle stencil. I don't own any circle stencils. You could make your own circle stencils from your nested circle dies, but if you don't have them, the nice thing is this is a particular size. It's the size that is perfect for this to drop in, and it also, I believe, though I haven't tested it yet, there is a dropout. Oh, that's a little bit bigger, and that's actually okay. So if you have this bigger circle and you have got the dies, you can decorate this and then trim it down, because I hadn't checked to see that it's actually just a tiny bit too big. So you would have to check your sizes of dies. If everything looks good, then you can do your coloring. Alternatively, you could just decorate this on a piece of white. And I'm going to share with you the next demo is taking this stencil and making your own bokeh circle. So I have a piece of 5x7 basic white floating around right here. I have my new stencil. I'm looking at the colors around the stencil. You will see that I already did some work and have a mock-up. I picked 2 inks, Garden Green and Lemon Lime Twist. You could use any of the greens. Make sure you pick something light and bright. You could even use soft seafoam. I just focused on the Lemon Lime Twist color and the Garden Green, and even that could be something super dark, like a mossy meadow or some such, and then craft white. So to make this really work, I then grabbed from my stash of things I'm a journal person, and I use this very old Sketchmaster template that has these shapes. I usually use the squares, and I masked off 3 sizes, small, medium, and large, with washi tape, and used those 3 sizes. You can see the white craft. You can use it for more than just the white, though I just used it for white. And I'm going to go into the corner here because I will be die cutting this out after I am finished, starting with the Lemon Lime Twist. We don't want to contaminate the light color with a dark, so we're going to start with the light, and I'm using the light areas on the edge of the circle. I hope that you actually could see all of my first demo, because I see that my everything is far away. I'm going to go pretty wide because the garden green will go over the top. Vary your intensity. They don't have to be all matchy-matchy. I just use finger daubers. I do use enough finger daubers to have them each labeled with the color that they are. I'm starting here where it's the darkest, and then I'm letting it get lighter. If you want it smoother than this, that's pretty rough, start circling off and then circle onto your paper. That is the secret. So I purposely, oh, and then I go and mess it up. Okay. Yeah, look at that, nice. So this one I left pretty choppy so you could see the difference. And then this is smoother. We've got our darks, we've got our lights. Okay, so that's that part. Now we are going to take and do some lemon lime twist. And I want a couple of bigger ones. And I am varying, I'm just twirling. Okay. Don't mix up your inks and your daubers. That's something to watch for. Be very careful with how dark this dark green is going to be. You can even like start it off and then twist, twist, twist. Twist, twist, twist. Once you're happy with those darks, we now have to add craft white at the end. I still want, I think, one more spot of the lemon lime twist. I don't even want the full circle showing, I just want a hint of a circle. Okay. I have my white. It is craft white. I put the craft white on a spot. I have recently, when I first started this, I re-inked it. I have my template here, and I'm gonna purposefully go in the dark. Going to be pretty inky. You might have to go over it twice. Again, looking for a dark section, smaller circle this time. Okay, and we're gonna have to do a couple more. If you want this white to be even more white, you can freshly re-ink your inker. You can even do a really big one. I'm just kind of adding some lighter areas. Oh, that's not even the circle. Huh, that was a hex. All right, so there's my impersonation, and now I'm going to share with you how it looks against the one provided. I see nothing wrong with that one, and here's another one that I did earlier as a sample. This is just on scratch paper, so it's actually a little bit closer to the provided one. This is basic white, and it came out really vibrant, but it will dry. All right, so that is demo number 2. Actually, demo number 3, because the second demo I'm going to go back to. I want you to see me turn these into templates. I have a bee. All right, any washi tape is what I use. This is like ancient washi tape. It's probably 20 years old. So any washi will do, and I create these little templates. They are permanent. They go into my stencil stash when I'm done. I will typically put them, because I'm going to make a whole bunch. I will make every daisy. I have a little pile I'll show you in a minute of what I have made. They don't have to be like a perfect shape, but you do have to do both sides so that the sticky isn't exposed on either side. So I have to remember that. I'll probably move you closer when I do the mix and matching. I don't mind squaring it off and making it look nice, but it's not crucial for the stencil to work. I think it's more important that you just get both sides. So now I'm going to peel it up. Oh, and the sun is going down. You guys are getting dark, so we're going to lighten it up. Like I said, it's afternoon. Okay, so now we're gonna unsticky the back side. What this does is you can use whatever existing cardstock you have and do some nice stencils and the stamps and have an endless supply of bee and daisy and the polka dot circles. As many as you want, no limits. So I'm just folding over the sticky edges so it's mostly smooth and non-sticky. And there is my bee template. I already showed you how I did my circle template. Let's see, what else have we got over here in my pile? I have a flower. These are ones I already determined I liked the shapes of. A second bee. And a fourth flower. So, putting all those together, you now have a nice set of template or stencils to add to your stencil stash. I'm just cleaning this up. And then I'm going to share some extra supplies with you. And then we will get into, I might do some simple stamping. All right, so stencils. This one still needs to be cleaned up, but this one is cleaned up. This one's cleaned up, and so is this one. So always look at the shapes of your die cuts for potential stencils. You just don't, you want to get every little bit that you can out of these kits. You may or may not, based on these two shapes that we have for the labels, you could very easily make them stencil shapes as well and do some fun stenciling. I've never done that, but I don't see why that wouldn't be a thing. And then before I move on to the next item, which is supplies, you can actually take your very delicate honeycomb that is a very light champagne gold, and you can decide that it needs to be a different color because it's pretty sturdy. I would not suggest this if it was not as sturdy as it is. This is wild wheat. It is retiring in very soon now, in like a couple weeks. And I have maybe a wild wheat. If I don't have a wild wheat, I will just designate one. Okay, let's see what we can do to darken this up. So you've got white. So you have the champagne color, you have white, and then you also could do something fun like this. And that will dry and it'll be a little bit lighter. You could also stamp off or rub off and make a much lighter version. And you can do your honeycombs any color you need. There you go. So here's some honeycombs. And here is the provided champagne gold. All right. You could also use it as a stencil right there. So if you want to save one of these, you have a perfect stencil. It will only be that size. It's not worth, I don't think, doing washi tape around the edges, but you could, with some care, make that shape look very nice as a part of a background. All right, so added supplies. I've got some suggested trims, and embellishments. I haven't purchased a lot of items for the new catalog. I tried to check and make sure these aren't retiring, but let's make sure this is still, because we are on a shoulder month where the catalog is retiring at the end of the month. So I'm trying to double check and not give you guys ideas. And I am very big on using what you have. So this might just give you ideas to go pull from your own stash. Okay, these are not retiring. They are textured adhesive dots. These are Riverside Irregular Pearls. They are not retiring, and they come in light blue, the dark blue, and I believe white. Yeah, and white. These are not retiring, and so they have a pink flash to them, but they actually look like gold and clear. Good old iridescent basic jewels can be colored any color with the blends. For trim, this is retiring very soon, but a lot of people might own it, and I think it goes really well with the subject matter. I'm just grabbing. I have all these things aside, not on my desk with me because of the kitten, but here is what something like that would look like. We have this 1/4 inch white that is not retiring. Beige, basic beige. I grabbed a green. This is a garden green twine that is a 3-pack, a combo pack. We have our gold trim. We used to have this in silver. We now have it in gold. I did pull one fun product because I found it this weekend in my stash. Oh, it's not even open. Wow. Is it not open? Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna probably pull. This is from the grocery store. It is called cheesecloth. It doesn't even call it cheesecloth. Oh, here it is. The name, cheesecloth. And it's funny that the two that I grabbed are not open because I do use it. I am probably close to needing to put on the ring light. So I will probably finish this up and then go away. So cheesecloth is just a wonderful, unique thing. Like I said, you can buy it at the grocery store. You want to use a single layer of it. And it makes a wonderful textury underlayer. So I will be cutting up a couple pieces of that for us to play with when we do our layouts. It is going to be sticking to all of your die cuts. I'm not going to add any die cuts because I think we have enough with the kit itself. There you go. Look at the look of that. So we're going to do a couple of those. Absolutely. Trying to bring one wow element in for our cards. Embossing. I like Timber 3D. I grabbed a really old one called Subtle. There's a few that are all over that I think would be a nice, you could use the painted texture. Yep, it's called painted texture. I don't even have a retired on the painted texture. So you could make this look like it's painted. This is a pretty detailed element that I know there's layered pop-up daisy elements, but I probably would, to stretch my materials, would be using this by itself with some different elements to layer. I do have, it's very hard to see, hopefully you can see that it is a cloud, and the front is the cloud. This is the Lost Lagoon Pale card base. These clouds, this is long retired, Into the Clouds 3D. You can see that I already have white on it. I do put fresh layers of the craft white, but it won't show on this color, so I wasn't worried about refreshing that. But it just adds a little bit of a subtle texture. I also have the mini corrugated is brand new. We used to have a larger corrugated years ago, and what'll happen with this corrugated, so you can be aware of, is it shortens. So this new color, which I will give you the name in a moment. I'm looking around for my samples of it. So it's the 2025 to 27 in color. When you use the corrugated, it will shorten it. It won't make it any narrower on the side, so I suggest that you cut it a little bit bigger. I pre-cut everything down to A2, so how I deal with the shrinkage, I just will make it smaller, and I will always use a matte. I like to have matted, and this layer would not be the back layer, like the black layer for me would be a white base. So just be aware that the corrugated, whether it's the big one that's retired or the mini, you do have to allow for shrinkage. I did bring one more that I thought was really cool. It's called Bark. It is also retired. It will also shrink like the mini corrugated. And here is the new mini corrugated. Looks just like the old corrugated. And I don't think I kept my old corrugated. So all of those supplies and more. Anything that you have embossing folder wise, you can shred your edges with a knife. I wouldn't recommend scissors. You can sponge the edges. So I'm going to go away, do some treatments, get enough pieces together. I may come back to do simple stamping. I'll get myself cleaned up and then come back and do a little simple stamping, and then we'll go right into the mix and matching. Before I go, I have a few cleanup items on prep. I found my sanding block. So I'm just going to take my sanding block and rough away the raised bits so they appear white to reveal the cloud pattern. And there's the pattern showing through. And then you can also rough the edges. I need to trim this down because it's not going to be the full A2 size. It'll be a big background mat. So there you go. So there's that. I wanted to share with you that I have taken my bokeh dot and I die cut it out, and it has to be a little bit smaller. You could add more white if you wanted to have the white be as strong as the sample ones. You could just add more, but I'm happy with what that looks like for now. I found antique pearls. These are new, and they are a creamy color. So they kind of are like a basic beige, but iridescent-y shine. I was showing you this lovely dark blue and I mentioned that it was a new in color, and its color is called Secret Sea. Now I really will go away, and when I come back, we will be doing some mixing and matching. All right, I'm going to do some simple stamping. I've got 3 pads, crushed curry, garden green, and tuxedo black. Oh, and I just dumped some trim on the ground. All right. Starting with the happy birthday, which will be black. We're going to do a monochromatic, very simple. It could start being actually that simple. Now, so that is 1. Now I'm going to take the crushed curry and I'm going to do a nice, pick a good direction for the honeycomb. And now, with that, there's something a little bit fancier. On the back. So there's that. 30-second card. Very fast. So my third one, I want it to be an all over. And I'm going to, I don't often do such a big background stamp like this, so I'm going to go ahead and use it. And this very simple, this is just thread from a different ribbon. And I have this bigger bow. And I want my honeycomb to show, so I will move it so that it shows better. Move him out of the way a little bit so I can change the angle. Again, staying very simple. I could trim it down and use a mat, here is a green. I have discovered that Mossy Meadow is actually a better color, but Garden Green also works. So there's a couple of very simple designs. Now what happens if I step it up to the full page? So all of a sudden, with this busy background, we get a pretty fancy card without a lot of work. You're only using the bee and the daisy. Now, if we want to conserve our bees, and because we only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them, maybe. This still with the daisy, you could instead let the bees that are stamped on the background be the focal and just do 2 daisies. And we are not focused. I want to get this a little brighter. There we go. All right. So I like that. Oops. Let's move on to a completely different base. This one get our pieces back. Here is a nice base. And I think any of the bokeh circles would look nice. Like I could even take this from the other card we just were working on. I can add a couple of bees. I was thinking too, though I didn't want to spend the time to do it, you could also stencil with our little stencil a soft bee in the background, add a couple of them, and only have one of these, because again we only have 6, so I'm thinking of ways to conserve. You could also go ahead and stamp the bee. You have the two-step stamping. You have the wings, and then you have the body, so you can then fussy cut it out and make more bees. They just wouldn't look quite as real as this one. Oop, that's a dark blue, isn't it? I hate when I'm just starting out and I lose my bling right off the bat. I do have more of those. There we go. So there's a simple way to dress that up. Again, this is my bokeh, just for fun. Oh, there's the third one. So now I have 4. Here's the difference with the 2 bokeh colors. I think this is Mossy Meadow. . 'Cause 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 ' So that's fun. Fun and fancy. And that's the fully fancy version that I would like to make. All right. Setting all of this aside, grabbing my pearls. Okay. And I want to Okay, so there's that. I want to try, oh, that's not going to work, is it? All right, I spent the time to get the dark matte background gone so I could put a mossy meadow background, and so I just changed things up here and was just going to finish off with some pearls. I'm really liking these new pearls. And you can put the pearls on the daisy. Trimming some of this off on that one side. All right, I decided to get everything reconfigured for a vertical before moving on. Again, we can dress up or down with the different bow choices from my selection. Let's see, let's do one more bow. We'll just put it over the top. And move the daisy down so everyone can see it. Okay. And don't forget, I have my brighter version of the bokeh that you could do some different colors other than the mossy meadow if you wanted to brighten it up. You've also, don't forget, you have the honeycomb pattern to add a little extra detail if you wanted. A little bow. I'm liking this little, this was just remnant pieces that I turned into a bow. And there's that bow. Let's see if the heavy bow can go on here. Now, because of how big the bow is, I'm moving everything up. So hopefully these are giving you some ideas. I want to make this fancier before we move on. So cheesecloth is just a fun, old school, very inexpensive way to do some different techniques with your cards. Okay, so that's kind of fun and different. I could even decide I would love to have the little honeycomb kind of on here. Just keep layering it up, make it more fun until I'm satisfied with it. Okay, so we have this crazy special background. Look at the glossy treatment on the honeycomb. I would pop this up. Oh, and here is what the sanded Lost Lagoon, I guess it's a faded Lost Lagoon really. The clouds look really cool. So for now, I'm going to use it as an underlayer. I'm going to pop this up. I can only pop up the bottom, but that's okay. We get the idea. And I was thinking for this, putting a daisy, making a little scene. Really, really like that. If you want, you could add. Remember, we only have so many bees. I would probably be making some extra bees of my own. Coming up with the correct location for him, probably down here. Really, really like that. I love it. So we have 3 of these. Don't forget, you have 3 of those to work with as well. Again, very, very material heavy kit. This one, I did the subtle again. I've used the subtle embossing folder, which is long retired. Mainly I started it because of that line from the envelope. So this can be just very few pieces to make up the whole. Trying to find the right placement for pearls is like always a challenge. Again, I feel like the happy birthday is sort of plain for the fancier cards, so I would be inclined to find a fancier sentiment to go with it. You could go with adding raised up daisy 1 or 2 here and there. I would not be inclined to do that. Trying to think, have I gone through all of my different scenarios? I have not just used this nice plain, this is the card base that's all blue, so you get 2 sides of that times 3, so a total of 6. There's one bow. And again, if I go with a fancy bow, oh, I could put this. So I haven't really used this much. We have this. I am way over time. I'll have to cut some of this out. So anyhow, there is my final one with the background. Now we've lost our clouds, but it still looks like a sky background. It could be trimmed down and matted, but I am not going to do that. I think I have done a decent job of showing off the different things you can do with this kit. It is, of course, a fantastic kit, as they all are. And if you have any thoughts, any ideas that I missed, please put them in the comments. I will make them live so we all can share and make sure that we all don't miss something fun to do with this kit. Do all of the YouTube things. Like, share, comment, consider subscribing. Ring the bell to be notified of my new content when I push it up. Thank you all for joining me today, and welcome back if you are returning. I will see you all on the next one.